Scrappy Peeps, Suzanna here today for Echo Park, and I'm sharing with you this layout that I created using the new I Love Summer collection. This photo is another sort of kickback in time. This is my daughter when she was, it was 2009 and she was born in 2006, so 3. She was almost about to turn 3, and we were on spring break at the beach. And part of what I'm using here, so I have a digital cut file that's by Lori Whitlock. She also created this particular collection, but also released are some new additions to the designer series. So they are stamps, die cuts, and embossing folders, and I'm going to use a new stamp. So that stamp is called Make Waves. It's if you know me, you know I have swimmers and I do a lot of water stuff, and so this was obviously a no-brainer that it needed to join my collection. So first I'm going to add some Shimmers watercolor to the background. I had a hard time activating it. This is a very light color, and I needed a lot more water than what I had. I didn't let it sit long enough is actually the problem. And so I'm just doing a light water wash background in a light blue, and then I want to stamp over that with a darker blue to just give if you look at the photo up close, you can see the ripples in the sand of the water, and so this is just more of that ripple sort of effect. And rather than using a patterned paper as a background, I am using this stamped image for a background. And so once I get to, you can see that with a pencil I marked, or you saw earlier I should say, that I marked the size of the stamp, so this way I know how much of the watercolor I want to put, and that way I had an idea of where it was that this was going to go. Now this is really light, and so I did want to add a little bit more color. I did also want to add some splash just for that sort of bubble effect. Most of what's underneath the photo does actually get covered up, so it wasn't critical, but that's the whole look. It's kind of hard to not do the whole thing. And so I'm inking up the stamp pad really well. I do let that dry because it is watercolor, and then I am going to stamp it. I don't have to wait too long because Shimmers isn't all that thick like an acrylic. And I love, 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 love the effect of that. So I cut out the digital cut file really large, and now what I'm doing, and I'm going to fast forward through this once I've chosen the papers, but I'm going to choose the papers, and I love this 6x6. I love 6x6 pattern paper packs from collections when you're backing large files like this, because they're the perfect amount of paper without having to cut into a whole 12x12 sheet if you wanted to use that for a background or something else. So I'm just going through. I want to put like hope with the clouds is perfect because there's something about clouds that makes me think of hope. And then sand, I'm going to put the wood grain behind it. And then those words that are not sort of the fancy words like I, you, have, in, your, and navy blue, those are all going to be the same color in that navy blue. And then I'm just trying to have a nice mix of colors scattered throughout to make that phrase, because really the phrase is the meat of the layout. It's the title. Yeah, the meat of the layout is probably the best way to describe it other than the photo. And so I have picked out all the bits and pieces, and it is time to back them. And so literally all I'm going to do is I'm going to put some adhesive around the word, and then I am going to stick down a appropriately sized piece of paper and move on to the next word. And so some of those words do have more than one layer behind them, but that's just the way that it turned out, and I'm not worried about it. Not a problem. And actually, to be honest, it's all going to get covered up anyway by the small frame that I am going to put behind that, and you'll see once I have finished with that. So I showed you 1 or 2, and from here on out, this is in like quadruple speed as I literally back that all up. So this is another throwback picture. If you follow my work, you will know that the last video that I shared was my son and Peter Pan with another Cartabella Echo Park collection. And this is my midget, as I call her, in 2009, and it's crazy how time has flown. Kind of seems like we were just at that beach the other day. And coincidentally enough, that picture was taken April 6th, 2009, so really not too far back is the month goes. So this is a perfect summer collection. I love the colors. They're really bright, and I like the bright colors. They work really well for me. Another bonus of the 6x6 paper pad in this particular collection by Echo Park is that you do get the complimentary cardstocks. So you can see that I've used the navy, the yellow, the green, and the blue. I believe there is a pink that comes with it. So Echo Park very frequently does a separate paper pack, and or available to you are plain papers that coordinate. I love that when they include those papers in the 6x6 paper pad. So you can see here, the only piece of 12 by 12 pattern paper that I'm going to use is the one with the beach balls that will be the frame for this layout. And I love that frame around it because it ties everything together. It ties all of it's sort of the uniting factor in that layout. And that's what I'm about to do here. So I have put tons of adhesive because of the buckle from the watercolor, and because of all of those pieces of paper, I do need a fair amount of adhesive. And then I'm just going to stick that all down. It's nicely backed, and it takes out some of the warp from the layout there. So that is the bulk of the layout. Now I'm just going to embellish the layout. I'm going to use a mix of the element stickers that is in the collection pack, as well as a chipboard piece. I could have used more chipboard pieces. What's really cool about the Echo Park collections is that you can have some of the elements that are in the chipboard are also in the element stickers, and likewise. So I toyed with the placement of this. I actually had it originally a little further up, but then you couldn't see the wave pattern. And I had wished that I had done a little bit of it down below the photo as well, but I wasn't going to go back and do it. And really, what does it matter? There's plenty of other fun things that you can embellish the layout with. So here I have the ephemera pack, and and just kind of previewing different things to see what it is that I want. I had a phrase sticker out, but I end up putting one of the phrase, I put that phrase away because I have this big giant phrase, and to put any more phrase would just be phrase overload for me. So I have this sand castle because of course it goes with the sand that's in the phrase, and I want to pop that off just for a little bit of dimension. And of course, to build a sandcastle, you need a bucket and a spade, and I'm going to put the bucket. And I struggled with the spade because the spade is red as well as the bucket, and it was a really heavy blob of red, and there's nowhere else in the layout is there red. So it's why I decided against the bucket. Also, I have a pineapple that's going to go up and fill up that space between the photo and the phrase. So I knew I needed something there. And then I also felt like I needed something to the right of hope, and I will find something there. So of course, when you think of toes, the flip-flops are perfect there. And of course, you need a sun on a sunny day. So I was going to put that there. I toyed with the idea of maybe getting out some Wink of Stella and putting a little bit of shimmer on top of the sun, but I liked it the way it is, and I didn't want to lose the brightness that the sticker provided. So I put a little, so I'm looking for something to fill that gap that's in there. I know I want a journal underneath the photo, so there's the bucket that I referred to earlier, and there's the spade, and I like it. Looking at the video, and I might go back in and put it in there. I don't know, there's pros and cons to both, right? And you always have to go with your initial judgment, and so I might still just leave it. I don't know. I will probably end up leaving it. So that, my friends, is my layout created using I Love Summer. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them in the box down below. Thanks for stopping in today. I hope you're doing well, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.